all know that Dominic Cummings visited Barnard Castle, but I wonder how many of you actually knew the reason why he may have been there. He's always been a proponent to actually having this mandatory vaccine. So it may surprise you that GlaxoSmithKline, their largest factory, is situated at Barnard Castle in County Durham. I shall repeat that again. GlaxoSmithKline's vaccine factory is situated at Barnard Castle in County Durham. So when he turned around and said to everyone he was off to visit the opticians and everything else, it very may well be that he wasn't doing that at all. I didn't know this fact until the other day, but I thought I'd share a few things with you, like, you know, how vaccines are approved, what ethically they should abide by, and also the only person who is guaranteed 100% to make any money out of this. I suppose you all know who that is. So anyway, let's start with one thing. This is approval. Vaccine product approval process. FDA's Centre for Biologics Evolution and Research is responsible for regulating vaccines in the United States. Current authority for the regulation of vaccine resides primarily in Section 351 of the Public Health Service Act and specific sections of the Federal Food, Drug and Cosmetic Act. Now these are applied in every single country. If successful, the completion of all three phases of clinical development can be followed by the submission of a biologics license application. To be considered, the license application must provide the multidisciplinary FDA reviewer team, medical officers, microbiologists, chemists, biostatisticians, etc., with the efficacy and safety information necessary to make a risk-benefit assessment and to recommend or oppose the approval of a vaccine. Also, during this stage, the proposed manufacturing facility undergoes a pre-approval inspection, during which production of the vaccine as it is in progress is examined in detail. Following FDA's review of a license application for a new indication, the sponsor and the FDA may present their findings to FDA's Vaccines and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee. So, each vaccine has to go through a rigorous testing before it's allowed on the market, which makes me wonder why we're all going out and going, oh, let's all do this, let's all do that. Yeah, we need a vaccine by the end of the year. Right, phase 1-2 trial of a SARS-CoV-2 recombinant spike protein nanoparticle vaccine. Who's doing this? GlaxoSmithKline. This is from the 2nd of September. NBX-CoV2373 is a recombinant severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2 SARS-CoV nanoparticle vaccine composed of trimeric full-length SARS-CoV-2 spike glycoproteins and matrix M1 adjuvant. Now I said you would have to have COVID-19 inside your vaccination. There is the proof. We initiated a randomized placebo-controlled phase 1-2 trial to evaluate the safety and immunogenicity of the SARS-CoV-2 vaccine. In phase 1, vaccination comprised 2 intramuscular injections. By the way, there's another company, from France actually helping out with this now. This is the rollout. Now, the company in France they were trialling a drug of their own, and it didn't meet the required standards. So I don't know whether they're going to use their idea and add the nanoparticulates from their GlaxoSmithKline's COVID-19 vaccine or not. I don't know. But it would sound to me as though that is exactly what they're doing. Mixing the two together. How dangerous that is, I don't know. But so from the 3rd of September they've now started trials. What you will find is that 400 participants have been chosen already. And if you live in the United States, this is where they're testing these. They're not testing them anywhere else in Europe or anywhere else. The participants so far for all 7 vaccinations have all come from either North America, South America, even Canada. So if you live anywhere near any of these, be wary. Let's continue. There's a few to get through. Clinicaltrials.gov. Now this is for your September the 3rd. Yeah? So it's only 3 days ago. The safety and scientific validity of this study is the responsibility of the study sponsor. That's the person who gave the money. Yeah? That way everyone else is exempt from being done for it. Listing a study does not mean it has been evaluated by the US federal government. Know the risks and potential benefits of clinical studies and talk to your healthcare provider before participating. Read our disclaimer for details. So I read the other one, and this is the very next day they've started the trials. Right, sponsor Sanofi Pasteur, which is the French company who had their vaccine, did not actually make the required standards. So on the 1st of September they put out a press release and turned around and said our vaccine is no good, but you know, the very next day they then joined GlaxoSmithKline to do a phase 1-2 test of a completely new vaccine. My suggestion is it's GlaxoSmithKline's failed vaccine and this company here, Sanofi Pasteur, their failed vaccine. So putting the 2 vaccines together. The primary objectives of the study are to describe the neutralizing antibody profile at day 1, day 22 and day 36 of each study intervention group. To describe the safety profile of all participants in each age group and each study intervention group up to 12 months post last injection. So those that had the actual COVID-19 vaccine for the previous trial have now got to wait 12 months or whatever it works out, yeah, before they can be assessed again to see how bad that vaccine was to their immune system, other parts of their body, so on and so forth. And what people don't realise is that they're going to inject this in you. That's what they want to do. They want to inject this into you. They do not care. They want to inject every single human being on planet Earth with this vaccination. And as it's been proven before, sometimes it's like 20, 30 years before a vaccine is actually proven to be effective and safe for clinical use. So you ask yourself this question. We've not even been in this pandemic 6 months, but they reckon by December 2020 they will have a vaccine, and by the time March 2021 comes along, they will already be administering this out to the public. Now do you see how far they've come with this? They've turned around and they've broken all their own rules There's no ethical understanding, there's no ethical thought for whether you would like to have a vaccination. You're going to have a vaccination, irrespective of anything, or you won't be able to do anything else in this world. Anyhow. So now you know that even one day after they've failed vaccination, Sanofi Pasteur, they now have another chance with the help of GlaxoSmithKline. Now we all know that 5.4 million shares in that company belong to Bill Gates. Let's continue. Important information about young donor plasma infusion for profit. Now this is February the 19th, 2019. The Food and Drug Administration is advising consumers to be cautious about establishments offering infusions of plasma obtained from young human donors, with the claim that the infused plasma will treat a variety of conditions ranging from normal aging to memory loss. I don't know whether you've heard about this, where they go out and they do trafficking. Yeah, that's trafficking for kids. And what they do is they then turn round and they take that blood, thinking that blood is good for them, and it's going to make them look younger than everything else. That's the biggest load of idiotic stupidity I've ever come across. And these are rich people doing this. Very rich people. Because no one else can afford it. Anyhow, I just thought I'd throw that nugget in there. So these are the type of people who want you to have a mandatory vaccination. Dominic Cummings went to Barnard Castle because basically put GlaxoSmithKline's largest vaccination factory is actually in the grounds of Barnard Castle. It wasn't for an optician's appointment, and everyone else should know it wasn't for an optician's appointment. So, sorry. Exclamation square, like, icon, getting a flu vaccine is more important than ever during 2020-2021 to protect yourself and the people around you from flu. No, it's already been proven. If you catch flu and you get rid of it yourself, your body is designed to do that. That's a medical fact. Scientists are messing about with things. If I have the flu and you've had the flu jab, how in the hell am I going to be able to give you the flu? They've already given you the flu. The seasonal flu. If you think that's ridiculous, go and ask your doctor. Ask a doctor. Don't mess about with it. Just ask them. But that's what they want to do. These are rich people. They can afford all this. They can do whatever they want. They don't care. Cell-based refers to how the influenza flu vaccine is made. Most inactivated flu vaccines are produced by growing flu viruses in eggs. The flu viruses used in the cell-based vaccines are grown in cultured cells of mammalian origin instead of in hens or eggs. Flukelvax quadrivalent is the only cell-based inactivated flu vaccine that has been licensed by the FDA for the use in the United States. Who can get it? Why has a cell-based flu vaccination been developed? This goes into who can get it and everything else. Cell-based flu vaccine production does not use flu viruses grown in eggs and therefore is not dependent on the supply of eggs. In addition, cell-based flu vaccines that use cell-based candidate vaccine viruses, CVVs, have the potential to offer better protection than traditional egg-based flu vaccines. The best protection is yourself. They know that for a fact. The viruses used to make cell-based vaccines may be more similar to circulating wild flu viruses than the viruses used to make egg-based vaccines in one study published in the Journal of Infectious Disease External Icon among medicine or Medicare beneficiaries 65 years and older. So if you want to join one of these things where you're going to be given COVID-19, I mean, everyone's going to end up having respiratory problems, you ask me, but there you go. Cell-based vaccine provided greater protection against flu-related hospitalizations than standard dose egg-based vaccines. I don't believe that for 1 minute. If you've got to go to the hospital, you must be ill. How is the cell-based vaccine manufacturing process different than the traditional S-based? The cell-based vaccine manufacturing processes uses animal cells made in Derby canine kidney or MDCK cells as a host for the growing of flu viruses. So they're going to grow the flu virus. They have to grow the flu virus because that's the only way they can give it to you. If they don't grow the virus, you can't catch it. So rather than stopping the virus from having it, they want to give you a mandatory vaccination which is going to give you COVID-19. I keep telling everyone this. It's going to give you COVID-19. You heard what it said. A recombinant form of COVID-19. And they're going to give it to you. But anyway. It goes on and on and on. About flu plus icon. Who is at high risk of flu complications? Icon. This flu season plus icon. Prevent flu plus icon. How to prevent flu plus icon. Yeah, it goes on and on and on and on. You know, it's pages and pages long. We won't go into it, otherwise, you know, we'll be here all day. There we go. Medical icon. For the United States, there are 3 different influenza vaccine production techniques approved by the US Food and Drug Administration. Egg-based flu vaccine, cell-based flu vaccines, and recombinant flu vaccine, which the one GlaxoSmithKline and Sanofi Pasteur are coming up with is a recombinant flu vaccine, which means it has to use as much as it can to help you get over COVID-19. There are several different manufacturers that use this production technology to make flu vaccines for the use in the United States. The production method requires large numbers of chicken eggs to produce vaccine and may take longer than other production methods. So if you use eggs, it takes longer to gain the culture that you want, that you need to add to your vaccination, and then more about everything else that goes in it is lost. I've never found a vaccine yet. I've actually turned around and I've tried to find out what's inside an MMR vaccine, what's inside it. I want to know the whole facts. They give you little bits and pieces, but they don't tell you the whole thing. Because if you look at it, you need to have measles, mumps and rubella in the MMR vaccination. That's 3 diseases in one. Cell-based flu vaccines. There also is a cell-based production process for flu vaccines that was approved by the FDA in 2012. So these aren't new things. Growing cultures in skins, bovine hearts, and so on and so forth, and monkey, and you know, the list is incredible. You know, gone are the days where it just used to be mice and rats and what have you. There's all sorts of things now. even human embryos. So after an abortion, a human embryo can be harvested for what it's needed to do cell-based vaccinations. We can grow the culture in it because it's part human. It's not part of me, but it's part human. The process of creating cell-based flu vaccines involves several steps. First, CDC, or one of its laboratory partners, use influenza viruses that have been grown in cells to make CVVs, which are then provided to a vaccine manufacturer. Next, the vaccine manufacturer inoculates the CVVs into cultured mammalian cells instead of into eggs, and allows the CVVs to replicate, i.e. make copies. So once they've given you the vaccination, once they've given you COVID-19, COVID-19 is now going to go to work and multiply itself exponentially. That means I'm going to make sure 100% I get this right, and you are going to have probably the worst cold you've ever had in your life. Trust me. Here's the other one. Hang on. Oh, I cut that out, that one. Never mind. Right. Document 51. FDA Center for Biological Evolution and Research is responsible for regulating vaccines in the United States. Current authority for the regulation of vaccines resides primarily, and we've already read that bit. Sorry, I've doubled up on that. Here we go. This is it. The 2020-2021 flu shot. Why is it? What's in it and why? Everything you need to know about flu shot ingredients, varieties and dosages. Yeah? This is from August this year. The 2020-2021 flu season is not shaping up to be a normal one. That's not to say it's going to be particularly bad. Clues from the southern hemisphere, where the flu season is well underway, actually hint that it will be a mild year for influenza across the globe, but they're still going to give you a vaccine. But it will be exceedingly complicated. First of all, the mild flu season in the southern hemisphere is probably due in large part to masks and social distance. Second of all, coronavirus is still raging in the US, and if a flu season packs the hospital, the mortal dangers of both COVID-19 and the flu increase. So once you've got COVID-19, you're susceptible to other flus. Well, that's just ridiculous. You can be twice as ill. Coming down with a cough and fever could also mean locking down in quarantine while you wait probably way too long for COVID-19 test results, which they still haven't got it right anyway. Some of them, they've doubled them up just to make it look good. It's more crucial than ever to get your flu shot. No, it's not. You can catch a cold and you can get rid of a cold. Having a flu shot doesn't help you. It just means someone's giving it to you. This year, getting vaccinated for the flu will be a bit different too. For one, kids can get vaccinations and the flu shot at pharmacies. A new approval by the Trump administration, this is in America, this is where they actually turn around and they test all these vaccines. In America. You know, if you've ever had a person, I mean, last year, $3.4 billion was set aside for money for people who had bad side effects and wanted to take the pharmaceutical companies to court. But you can only get a certain amount. If you've got life-debilitating diseases after you've had this, well, you're only going to get one amount anyway. If you can no longer walk, if you can no longer speak or do anything else after you've had COVID-19, you're still only going to get the one rate of money. There's no higher rate, there's no lower rate. It's, you're taking a lottery with your own body. Personally, I couldn't do that. Evergreen flu shot ingredients, preservatives and additives. Yeah, it's the only thing. Beyond the 3 to 4 viral components, a number of additives and preservatives are required to make vaccines effective and to keep them from going bad. We can keep buying and let it go bad, I don't care. These ingredients, sometimes covered as trade secrets by drug companies in other less public drugs, have led to many a conspiracy theory that the likes of anti-vaxxers would have you latch onto. It's really much more boring than that. Here are some of the ingredients. Yeah? Aluminum salts in most vaccines boosts body's response to the vaccine. Sugar or gelatin, most vaccines, preservative. Ingredient, formaldehyde, most vaccines, kills viruses and inactivates toxins. Formaldehyde is diluted during the vaccine manufacturing process, but residual quantities of formaldehyde may be found in some current vaccines. The amount of formaldehyde present in some vaccines is so small compared to the concentration that occurs naturally in the body that it does not pose a safety concern. If you look at formaldehyde on its own and what can happen if you have too much formaldehyde, you'll be surprised. Ingredients, antibiotics. Well, they already said most of these viruses and that now are antibiotic resistant. If that's the case, the antibiotics ain't going to do any good, are they? Prevents bacterial contamination. What? Yeah. Thimerosal. Some vaccines, mostly multi-dose vials, is a preservative. There you go. That's it, is it? Egg proteins, some vaccines. Look. There we go, look. See? Every year, vaccines take virus samples from labs across the world and mix and match them. This year's vaccine relies on 4 viruses. They call this the quadrivalent vaccine. These viruses are A, H1N1 PDM09. A refers to the type of influenza that infects birds, humans, pigs, horses, seals and dogs. HN refers to the different proteins found in the outer shell of the virus. Hemagglutinin and neuraminidase. PDM is short for pandemic. Remember, these are grown to mimic once live viruses that did some harm. Yeah? But I already turned around and proved to you that they're going to put in a version of COVID-19. If it mimics the way that everything else mimics, ask yourself this question. You're going to be mimicking inside your body COVID-19. And you see how many people are absolutely afraid of this disease, or virus, or whatever you want to call it. I still cannot believe it though. The second component is a variant of the 2009 H1N1 swine flu. So not only have we got one variant, yeah, we've now got 2. It was found in pigs, then in humans in 2011. And the biggest human outbreak was in 2012 with some 309 reported cases. That's not a lot, is it? 309. Unless, of course, you knew these things were happening. You wouldn't be looking for 309 people who had swine flu, would you? So now you've got swine flu in one, The second influenza B times 2. Influenza B viruses tend to be the non-pandemic variety because they spread primarily among humans alone. So I'm going to put in COVID-19 into a vaccine, and influenza B, because you catch it, will be part of it. Now, because I can catch it, you can catch it, and everyone else can catch it, what's the chances of putting the two together will mean, basically put, I can transmit COVID-19 twice as far. Of course, that's what they want. They created a pandemic to have a pandemic. So far it hasn't worked. That's why by the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021, they want to roll out a vaccination to give it to everyone. We're going to give everyone COVID-19. If you do not believe that, then there is something wrong with you. Right. Document 53. I've got a couple as well. DNA vaccination. DNA vaccination is a technique for protecting against disease by injection with genetically engineered plasmid containing a DNA sequence encoding an antigens against which an immune response is sought. So cells directly produce the antigen causing a protective immunological response. DNA vaccines have theoretical advantages over conventional vaccines, including the ability to induce a wider range of immune responses. Let's see if I can read this. I can't read that. Several DNA vaccines have been tested for veterinary use. In some cases, protection from disease in animals has been obtained, in others not. As of August 2016, no DNA vaccines have been approved in the US for human use. But they're going to do it now. They're going to test it. They're actually going to test it. They want to turn around and test these things. And all I did was just put in what's in the COVID-19 vaccine. And all these articles come up. Document 54. What does this say? Oh no, wrong one. This is. So, GlaxoSmithKline. You can get a laboratory science apprenticeship. How bright do you have to be? Do you have to be a rocket scientist or anything like that? Achieve your goals on our apprentice program. Right? It takes a lot to get into university anyway. What qualifications do you need? A minimum of 5 GCSEs at grades 9 to 5, A to C, including maths, language, not literature, science and maths, to have achieved or be predicted to achieve a minimum of 96 UCAS points. That's not many, is it? From your top 3 A levels, or equivalent, not including general studies. A-level chemistry at grade C or above for our chemistry-based apprenticeship, or A-level biology at grade C or above for our biology-based apprenticeship. So with grade C you can get in and do a laboratory apprenticeship. Where will you be based? And this is where, you know, Dominic Cummings really should have thought before he turned around and said he was going to Barnard Castle. Okay, where are we going to put all these people? You will be based at a site in either Barnard Castle, Montrose, Stevenage, Irvine or Worthing. Now, that is from GlaxoSmithKline themselves. Barnard Castle. That's what's in County Durham. It's one of their vaccine production factories. Next one. The 5-stock portfolio is a safe bet on a future COVID-19 vaccine. You bet your life it is, isn't it? I can't think of a more profitable investment than owning stock in the pharmaceutical company that ultimately wins the race to develop an effective COVID-19 vaccine. So we already know Bill Gates has 5.4 million shares in GlaxoSmithKline. Does he have any money in any of the others? What do we reckon? But they reckon it's a surefire bet, because no matter what, if everyone's got to have it, even if it's like $5 to $11 a shot, Bill Gates is going to make money out of it. That's from Forbes. That was August this year. This is the last one. So, Bill Gates, oh well, he's going to make a few pence out of GlaxoSmithKline's vaccination. But what about everyone else? Listen to this. Bill Gates is helping fund new factories for 7 potential coronavirus vaccines, even though it will waste billions of dollars. The Microsoft billionaire Bill Gates told The Daily Show on Thursday that his foundation was funding the construction of laboratories for 7 coronavirus vaccine candidates. Gates said the foundation would end up picking up only 1 or 2 of the 7, meaning billions of dollars spent on manufacturing would be abandoned. He said that in a situation where the world faces the loss of trillions of dollars to the economy, wasting a few billion to help is worth it. No. What people don't realise is this. Either way you look at it, Bill Gates is going to become a very, very rich man. And his non-profit organisation is going to become very, very rich. Remember, it's a non-profit organisation. People don't realise what it means. That means you can't make a profit. Yet Bill Gates is. Bill Gates is going to make a massive profit. Why? Because he's funding all 7 of the coronavirus vaccines. That's what I call a win-win situation. Gates said that simultaneously testing and building manufacturing capacities is essential to the quick development of a vaccine, which Gates thinks could take about 18 months. I hope it takes forever. I seriously hope it takes forever. Because I'm telling you now, you are not giving me a vaccine. I don't care whether you drag me off somewhere and leave me to rot. At the end of the day, I am not taking a vaccine that's got anything to do with Bill Gates. The man is a danger to humanity. First they decide to create a pandemonium over a pandemic. Then we had all these nutters going around throwing themselves on the floor and biting and fighting and, trashing the whole world. That's all part of it. That's all part of the plan. That's what they want. They want you at each other's throats. And yet no one seems to understand that. They don't care about you. Bill Gates will become a trillionaire overnight. Guaranteed. You watch. Anyhow, stay safe. Stay alive.